What if I told you that most folks these days are walking around in quiet defeat, not because they lack talent, but because they lack mental toughness? We scroll endlessly, measure ourselves against others, feel envious, and then wonder why we feel stuck, weak, or lost. We chase after comfort, yet end up drained, and we dodge pain, only to suffer through pain every day. The harsh truth is, comfort is slowly killing us, while struggle, even though it feels tough, plants the seeds of true power. But here's the twist. The ancient Stoics knew this long before smartphones, social media, or self-help books existed. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you'll find strength." That's more than a quote, it's a weapon, a mindset, a way of living amidst chaos and remaining unshakable. Stoicism doesn't promise an easy life, it makes you unstoppable. In this video, we're digging deep into 8 brutal Stoic rules that will push you to grow mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. These aren't just motivational fluff, they are hard truths, battle-tested in ancient Rome and still painfully relevant today. Before we start, I need you to do one thing. If you're serious about growing, don't just sit back and watch this like it's a typical motivational clip. This isn't background noise, it's your wake-up call. Hit that like button right now. Drop a comment along the way, especially when a point hits home, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Most importantly, don't ignore any part, because even missing one law could cost you clarity or courage when it matters most. Alright, let's get into it. First up, embrace discomfort like a trusted friend. We've all been conditioned to dodge pain, but the Stoics taught us the opposite, to run toward it with your eyes wide open. Think about your biggest growth moment. Was it when life was easy, relaxed, and comfortable, or when life punched you hard enough to make you decide whether to stand up or stay broken? Marcus Aurelius faced wars, betrayal, illness, and still led with calm and resilience. He didn't run from discomfort, he welcomed it to shape him. The obstacle in front of you isn't just an impediment, it's the very thing that pushes you forward. As Marcus said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's not poetic fluff, it's law. Every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen your will. Every delay tests your patience. Every rejection teaches resilience. Nowadays, society whispers, avoid pain. Stoicism whispers back, train for it. That cold shower, difficult conversation, grueling workout, those are your exercises in character. Seneca practiced sleeping on the floor, eating plain food, and wearing old clothes, not out of self-hate but as self-discipline training. When life strips away comfort, you shouldn't be shocked, you should be ready. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's a mirror showing who you really are, and more importantly, who you're becoming. We avoid small pain today, but we end up suffering bigger pain tomorrow. If you lean into discomfort, walk through the fire consciously, something incredible happens to you. Stop fearing pain altogether. That's when true freedom begins. Treat discomfort like a sparring partner. It might bruise you, but it's building you. Pick one small discomfort today and do it without complaint. A cold shower, a hard talk, sitting in boredom, and remind yourself, this is how warriors are forged. The only way to become unstoppable is to stop running from adversity. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Discomfort is my training ground. Second law, stop letting your emotions enslave you. Think about how often your feelings dictate your entire day. Someone says something rude and suddenly you snap. Plans change, your mood drops, and your entire discipline vanishes. You're lazy and skip the gym or work, blame everything, but realize it's all your feelings controlling you. The brutal truth is, if your emotions govern your life, you're enslaved by them. Epictetus, a former slave turned Stoic teacher, warned, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. They can only do so if you allow it. Let that sink in. The person who cut you off in traffic, the breakup, that rude comment online of it gives you your peace, your happiness, your focus. Stoicism doesn't want you to suppress emotions. It wants you to observe and understand them, then respond thoughtfully instead of reacting instinctively. There's a difference. Children throw tantrums. Stoics sit in the storm, reflect, and choose their response. Marcus Aurelius, in his journalator known as Meditations, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your own judgment of it. And you have the power to revoke that judgment." That level of inner control we rarely talk about. It means you can choose how to feel and whether to let external events shake you. It's brutal because it means you can't blame others anymore. You can feel anger without lashing out, fear without giving up, sadness without drowning. That's emotional strength, Stoic freedom. Next time you feel triggered, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, is this feeling useful right now? Respond with intention. This isn't emotional roboticism, it's mastery over your inner world. When you aren't owned by your feelings, you become clear, calm, and powerful. You show up steady even in chaos, which makes you magnetically unstoppable. In today's emotionally turbulent world, that stability is rare and it's your true power. Remember, growth begins when you stop being a puppet and start being the master. Drop this in the comments. I am in control of my emotions. Third law, stop expecting life to be fair. One of the fastest ways to suffer is to believe the universe owes you something. You work hard and someone lazier gets the promotion. You love deeply and they walk away. You do the right thing and you get punished, yet you think it's not fair. Here's the brutal truth. Fairness is a myth. It's something we want. It's not a rule that the universe follows. Marcus Aurelius said, "You can commit injustice by doing nothing." Even he, as emperor of Rome, saw injustice daily. But instead of whining or spiraling into despair, he anchored himself in a simple truth. Life isn't about fairness, it's about strength. The Stoics didn't expect life to treat them kindly. They prepared for pain, loss, betrayal, and change. Because they did, they were ready. Let's be brutally honest here. Fairness sounds nice, but if you cling to it, it makes you weak. When you say, "This isn't fair," often what you mean is, "I don't like what's happening and I don't want to deal with it." The law here. You grow not by expecting fairness, but by facing reality and pushing forward anyway. Look around, bad things happen to good people. Evil often wins. Effort doesn't always bring reward. That's life, not negativity. The line between average and unstoppable isn't waiting for fairness. It's building inner power so strong that nothing external can break you. That doesn't mean becoming cold or heartless. It means you stop waiting for the world to treat you right and start treating yourself right regardless of circumstances. Seneca once said, "Sometimes, even to live is an act of courage, especially when life seems unfair." Instead of complaining, use pain as fuel. Develop skills that are undeniable. Love without expectations. Face betrayal or loss and walk on with dignity. The Stoic approach is radical responsibility, not because everything is your fault, but because it's your move. You can't control how life hits, but you always control how you respond. That composed, warrior-caliber response makes you unstoppable. Remember, fairness isn't promised, freedom is earned through your choices. Drop this in the comments. My strength is built on discipline and resilience. Fourth law, focus on what you can control. Let go of everything else. The Stoics believed your true power is confined to a very small, specific space inside your thoughts, your choices, your actions, your responses. Everything outside of that, opinions, luck, circumstances, leave it be. Epictetus summed it up simply. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The trap most fall into. Trying to control others, predicting outcomes, obsessing over things beyond their influence, then feeling anxious, helpless, or angry. Here's the truth. What's truly in your control? Your thoughts, your decisions, your actions, how you respond. That's it. You can't control the weather, but you can choose your outfit. You can't control if someone likes you, but you can control how you treat them. The economy. You can't make it better, but you can learn more, save wisely, work harder. Shifting your focus like this is a game changer. It restores your power. Instead of being pulled in every direction by things you can't change, stand firm in your own agency. Imagine you're on a stormy sea. You scream at the wind or grab the wheel and steer. The Stoics would tell you, steer. That's what makes you calm when others panic, focused when others complain, disciplined when others drift aimlessly. It's not about pretending the outside world doesn't matter. It's about deciding what's worth your attention. A simple practice. Every time you feel overwhelmed or stressed, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, let it go. Marcus Aurelius reminds us you have power over your mind, not outside events. When you realize this, you grow unshakable not because you control everything, but because you control yourself no matter what chaos surrounds you. Drop this in the comments. I focus only on what I can control. Fifth law, practice voluntary hardship to build ironclad willpower. In a world hooked on comfort, discipline becomes a superpower. The Stoics didn't wait for life to challenge them. They challenged themselves first, and for good reason. Seneca suggested, set aside days where you're content with the bare minimum: coarse clothes, simple food, rough settings, and ask yourself, is this the hardship I feared? That's voluntary hardship, choosing discomfort deliberately to fortify your mind. Today, most of us avoid discomfort at all costs. We never skip a meal, avoid silence, and indulge constantly. But what happens when hard times hit? They break us. We panic, blame others, and fall apart. The Stoics trained for the dark days. They practiced hunger, fatigue, rejection, boredom, so when the inevitable comes, they're resilient. Willpower isn't built by watching motivational videos. It's built by deliberately doing the things you dislike. That could be fasting for 24 hours to control your impulses, taking cold showers despite your protests, choosing restraint over luxury, waking early when your bed screams to keep you warm. These small acts stack up, transforming you into someone danger-roused, not cruel but unshakable. Because you understand the truth, comfort doesn't make you strong, challenge does. When hardships arrive, you don't run, you smile, because you've already walked through fire voluntarily. Marcus Aurelius led through plagues, wars, and betrayals, but he remained calm because hardship wasn't a shock. It was expected. When you expect difficulty, it loses its power to paralyze you. Instead of asking, how can I make life easier? Ask, how can I become stronger? Practice hunger, solitude, cold, fatigue, rejection, boredom, and stay focused through all of it. Over time, you'll realize real power isn't in avoiding pain but in embracing it on purpose. That's how you build an unstoppable spirit. Drop this in the comments. Hardship is my forge. Sixth law. Detach from outcomes. Fall in love with the process. We're conditioned to obsess over results. Land the job, close the deal, hit the goal, earn applause, get likes. But Stoicism flips the script. It urges you to detach from the result and master your process. Why? Because outcomes are never guaranteed. Effort always is. Epictetus, the great Stoic, said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. To disregard things outside our control. When you cling to results, you set yourself up for suffering. You stick to the gym, don't see visible results, so you quit. You launch a project, it flops, and you feel worthless. You love someone and they walk away, your whole happiness depends on things out of your hands. But what if instead you loved the work itself, showing up, writing, building, learning, improving? That's the Stoic mindset. When you pour your energy into the process, you're always winning regardless of the immediate outcome. And funny enough, when you let go of needing a specific result, you often achieve more because you're free from desperation and emotional attachment. Marcus Aurelius advised, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same tools of reason that today arm you against the present. Live your effort. Do it for the love of mastery, not for applause. When you tie your worth to effort and discipline rather than praise or validation, you become unstoppable. Imagine showing up as if the result is already in the bag. Whether you succeed or fail, you've already won because you did the work. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I love the process more than the outcome. Seventh law. Embrace death, live with urgency and purpose. Most people go through life thinking it's endless wasting time, delaying dreams, stuck in bad habits, hurtful relationships. But the Stoics meditated on death not to be morbid, but to wake us up. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right knowledge that determine what you do, say, and think. Not out of fear, but because life is precious and fleeting. We don't get to choose when it ends, so every moment wasted is a moment lost forever." That truth should jolt you awake. No more waiting for someday, no more postponing that dream, no more pretending tomorrow will come. The Stoics practiced memento mori, remembering that death is inevitable. They didn't do it to be grim, they did it to stay present, focused, intentional. Once you realize your time is limited, you stop wasting it on trivialities. You stop scrolling endlessly and arguing over petty things. You stop settling for mediocrity, and you start creating, loving, moving, no, because now is all you have. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." You might not control how long you live, but you do control how deeply you live. The biggest lie: there's plenty of time. No, there's not. That's how you keep avoiding what matters. Whether it's starting a business, mending a relationship, forgiving someone, or making a bold change, this is your moment. This is your time. The Stoic doesn't ignore death. They stare it in the face and say, "You will not catch me sleeping on my life." That awareness isn't meant to breed fear. It's meant to make you alive, fully engaged, loving freely, working with purpose, releasing ego and not fearing failure. Because the ultimate failure is a life half-lived. Live like your time is borrowed, because it isn't. When you do, you become magnetic, focused, powerful. You stop chasing validation. You move with purpose. Feel it in your bones. You don't need external approval. You become resilient from within. Drop this in the comments. I live with purpose, knowing life is fleeting. Eighth law: be a warrior for virtue, not approval. Let's be real. Most people chase likes, praise, attention, and applause. But the Stoic doesn't care about the crowd. They live for virtue. Marcus Aurelius said, "Just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter." That's it. Live with integrity even if no one sees. Speak truth even if no one claps. Keep your word even if it costs you. Train hard even in private. That's virtue, character that can't be bought. It's not about perfection. It's about principle. The hard part: doing what's right, is often the hardest choice. It's easier to lie, impress, or chase approval than to be authentic. But every time you choose integrity over ease, you sharpen your soul. Seneca said, "I will govern my life and thoughts as if the whole world were watching." That's power, the kind that doesn't crumble under pressure. In a world obsessed with image, the Stoic is genuine. In a noisy world, they stay calm. In a world of superficial performance, they remain authentic. If you want to be unstoppable, stop living for praise and start living for your values. Live so that, even if stripped of status, money, followers, you still stand tall. Be the warrior for what's right, even if you walk alone, because usually, that's the path that leads to true strength. If you've read this far, it means something inside is stirring. You're ready to evolve, leave behind distractions, weakness, and emotional chaos, and step into something greater. Not perfection, but power, not to dominate others, but to master yourself. That's the Stoic way. It doesn't promise comfort. It offers clarity, direction, and a meaningful life even when chaos reigns. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they didn't write for easy times, they wrote to survive storms, betrayals, wars, and death with dignity. They taught us true strength isn't muscle or money, it's keeping your word, facing your fears, doing the hard right. You don't need motivation or perfect timing. You just need to start now. Train your mind. Expect struggle. Detach from results. Stick to your principles. Live like your time is shorthand. It is. The great part: you don't need applause or approval. You need to become unshakable from within. Because that kind of strength, that real, rare power, is all yours. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am becoming unshakable day by day. If this message hit home, if something inside lit up, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video. Comment your favorite law. Share this with someone on their journey. And make sure you subscribe. We're building a community of thinkers, warriors, and real ones who want more than noiseth, they want purpose. Remember, your life is all training. Everything counts. Keep showing up, keep choosing strength, and don't stop until you become unstoppable.